What is going on? Happy Sunday. Welcome to At Weeks in the spoiler field look back at this week in comics and so much more. There's some good stuff to talk about tonight. There's some serious comics that dropped that are going to be getting some great attention tonight as well that cannot be overlooked. I'm going to be touching on a couple of other things, including Loki, as well as that new South Park special, because I know one of the panelists tonight will not have it any other way. So let's get into it. Hey, how's it going, Paul?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I could be doing better if I was shopping at Big Time Collectibles online retailer for exclusive comics or following them on social media so I don't miss out on awesome stuff they do, like that who was it? Peach Momoko Yellow Label 9.8 mystery box that they were doing. Did you hear about that?
I did. They sold out, and then tomorrow night they got the glow-in-the-dark Batman and Superman.
That's true. And if you happen to pick any of those up raw and want to get them pressed and cleaned before you send them to get graded, you ought to hit the description. Check out Justin on IG. He can hook it up. He can take care of you. I also know another person who can hook it up and take care of you. His name's TM Nerdy.
I've checked under my bed, and Kathleen Kennedy isn't under there, so we're good to go.
She's not there. She's not there. Oh, they're going to get me. They're going to get me. I laughed at that scene uncontrollably when Cartman was running through the street. They're going to get me. That movie was insane. So big shout out to the channel sponsors, of course, and a huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games. If you're ever in the Augusta area, be sure to check them out. That's where I pick up all of my books every Tuesday and or Wednesday, Thursday, all that. There you go. Paul's practicing his pointing. Nailed it. Be sure to check them out. Link is in the description for their Facebook group. If you're a Facebook person, it's a fantastic group. Keep up to date on all kinds of stuff, including tabletop gaming. And if you want to find a great way to support the channel, you can buy merch. Paul's got merch. I've got merch. There's hats on there. Or you can check out the join button down below, become a channel member, and get loyalty badges next to your name, access to custom emojis, and included in that Legion loot box, which we will be drawing for the winner of the October Legion loot next Sunday. So it's going to be a good time there. I started showing off what's in it, I think, in the videos that are coming out this week, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to start sharing it this coming week. It's not in arm's reach right now. I'd show it now, but it's not there. And also be sure to keep an eye out on Comicx Curing Cancer on IG, the stock that remains of the Unnatural Order exclusive, the Comicx Curing Cancer exclusive. Those will be getting back in hand here in the next coming days, sorted out, accounted for, and added to the djlinksbigcartel.com website. So if you missed out on a copy or decided you want more copies, there will be a limited number going back up for sale. And lastly, huge thank you to all the Legionnaires out there that nominated the channel, became a finalist in the CBCA Awards in numerous categories. Be sure to go to cbcawards.org and vote over there. And also, it's a great way to discover new channels and all kinds of stuff. Brian LCS puts into a lot of effort into that. A lot goes into all that. So great way to support a community member who's trying to support the community. Fun stuff there.
3 more weeks, I believe, right? We got
to what?
Yeah, the 18th.
Yeah, correct. There's 3 weeks to the 18th. What happens on the 18th?
3 more weeks to vote. Yeah, 3 more weeks to vote to the finalists.
Okay. I didn't know that. I'll probably still be telling people to go vote well after the time it's done.
Yeah, it'd be like January. Guys, go vote.
Yeah. The way that the awards are going, that sounds about right. It's like an American election. It just doesn't stop. It's just 4 years of campaigning until the actual voting, then 4 more years of campaigning. Let's say hey to the chat. We have Las Cruces dropping in, and then this cracked me up when I saw it. It's 10:40 a.m. I now know Las Cruces sleeps here. What is going on, you guys? Hope you're doing good. Headquake, Las Cruces, Phil's Treehouse. What is happening? Hello to Paul Cook, Sector 2815. Much love from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pinless Joints. Let's go. We live?
We live? We
live.
I hear we live. About to fall asleep. Hang in there, Scott. Just wanted to pop in and say, hey, Scott.
Normally that happens after I stop talking.
Yeah.
Not before I start talking.
When is the time change? We got to be getting close to
next week. Next weekend.
Yeah, the 5th.
That's a Saturday, right?
Yes. You get an extra hour of sleep.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this is this time change I enjoy.
Yes, exactly.
I wake up at 3:00, scared that I was late for
Right.
work, jumping out of bed. That means I'll be
Yep.
waking up at 1:30 in the morning to use the bathroom.
If you don't change your clock, you'll be early for everything.
Perfect. There's a We Live comic too. It was phenomenal. I had the Miranda brothers on this channel early on in that whole process. I'm a big fan of We Live. Love me some Miranda brothers. There should be a They Lived and Make Them Into Zombies. I had a page up since 10:30 or so this morning, just refreshing. He's like a pregnant lady. What is going on? Pops is fresh back from Jamaica. He's back from his trip. He made it home safe and sound. Let's see. Today marks the 1 year, 11 month, and 21 day anniversary as a Legion non-winning member.
All right. Way to go.
A streak is a streak. You know what I'm saying? A streak is a streak.
That's right.
Yeah,
No,
huge,
now.
Huge supporter of the channel, and he donated that Catwoman slab that we use for a giveaway over here and stuff. Awesome stuff. I said it once before, DJ Links plus Legion of Comics equals me sitting on the edge of my seat in anticipation. Yeah, if you missed the intro to this video, be sure to check the rewind. We're cooking something. I scored a signed Peach box and definitely going to grab Glow Batsy and Superman Glows. Yeah, I'm that glow in the dark Superman, the Kryptonite green one. Been waiting on that one for a minute. Probably about since February. I've been pestering Nelson for a green one. Beardless Team still makes me think he's using a filter. Kathleen Kennedy gonna get me. It was so funny. Especially after C3, we have the going now, get going. Oh man, what is going on, Loki Dragonborn? What is good? Hello, Collecting with Durs is in the building. Taylor Winder, how are you doing this evening? Thought Paul just said he was twerking.
I did too.
That's Tyler. That's Tyler.
Phil, what is going on? Trev the Shipping Guru, hello. He did come back with that box. What is going on, DJ? Hope you're doing good. Appreciate you dropping by. Everybody make sure. Yeah, man. I'm here for the week's end. Well, we got you covered. We got that. So it was definitely a fun week. There wasn't anything, in my opinion, massive that happened. There's no new movies. I feel like Loki is kind of like it's Loki. Like in terms of the ripples that it's making and people talking about it, you just don't have people like excited and talking like they used to and all this and that. But this episode was solid. I'll let TM explain this episode to you, and then I'll just weigh in on it because he's probably I'm too jaded. Just be honest here. I'm just too jaded.
It's like, oh well, they're still trying to figure out the timeline. They have Victor Timely back at the TVA. And they're trying to figure it out. At this time, Ravonna Renslayer and the Miss Minutes are at the end of the world. They actually figure out what happened. They actually go in depth of like how He Who Remains just kind of threw aside Ramona Renslayer, and just throw her aside. And then the TVA agents that were trying to bomb all of the timelines, B-15 tries to try to come to an agreement with them. But Ramona says, like, if you guys are not with me, you're against me. And this scene right here, like, they didn't even have to go and, like, show us what happens. Like, Brad, the look on his face is just kind of shows it all. And the look on Miss Minutes' face just goes to show you that she's a psychotic AI.
Yeah, so I'm going to give like a synopsis of this episode. The timeline, the sacred timeline, is in danger. Since killing He Who Remains, the sacred timeline is not being maintained anymore. So it's branching out. you can't filter through all these branches into the timeline filter that creates the sacred timeline. And there's this device that does the filtering. It's too much time going into it. It's overloading it. It's a ticking time bomb. So Loki and Owen Wilson from Wedding Crashers are trying to get this Kang variant that they found. The one from the after scene credits of Ant-Man. They're trying to get him back to the TVA because they just happened on him and they have no other option. So they think that using him and OB and a little bit of knowledge, they can kind of put a little adapter on the device out there in the time stream, and it will be able to take the load. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Victor Timely in this heroic moment grabs the adapter and he steps out of the doors. And the moment he steps out, because of how increasingly worse the time stream is and how increasingly volatile it is, just the gravitational pull spaghettis him like you would have it happen if you go into a black hole. It was a pretty cool moment. And the big thing,
I did not expect that at all.
The big thing in the episode is it looks like the timeline explodes. Like it looks like the machine, the loom is what they call it, can't hold it, and it looks like it actually explodes. So that, like, if they would have done this like 3-4 years ago, this would have been like the most epic thing. Like, oh my god, what's going to happen? What like, and now where it sits, I'm like, I just have a feeling this isn't going to mean anything, just because this is where the jaded me comes in. Like, just from what we've been given, what we know is coming, the Marvels, Agatha, Echo is our lineup, you know, and like, I just feel like it's all a MacGuffin. Like I don't feel like we're allowed to have stakes. You know, even just trying, as DJ put it when I was talking to him, like he's watching it with his MCU blinders on and he's enjoying it. Well, I think episode 3 was one of the biggest piece of the dog shit I've ever seen out of a television show in my life. Just put that out there. But episode 1 was decent. This was actually a well-made episode, but I just feel like we're not allowed to have stakes. So it just is going to end where it all begins with all these shows or with anything just not amounting to a hill of beans at all. But I hope they deliver something fantastic with it. I've been saying it, and I'm going to continue to repeat it. I've been saying it for a long, long time, for at least a year, that they need to just reboot this entire MCU. And people were like arguing with me about it in chats on this channel. And now everyone's like, now that they're talking about, like, yeah, we all know it's going to be rebooted. And this is not it. I'm putting that out there now. This is not the MCU button. We're not near that yet. But
yeah, that's not happening. I think Kevin Feige came out and stated that it's not going to happen until Secret Wars. But this is definitely a start, and it's going to be bleeding into certain stuff. I don't know if it's going to bleed into the Marvels. I know a lot of people are theorizing that it's going to bleed into the Marvels, and you're going to see a lot of it changing reality as we know it. But I've been stating from the beginning that I feel like certain aspects, and I know you're going to disagree with me because you're going to be like, oh, Marvel's not that smart, that some of the shows and some of the series that we've watched aren't in the timeline. Like we think we're in the right timelines, but they're actually different timelines. And then this is where we're going to actually start to see.
Yeah, I'm that was my first thought. I'm like, okay, so this show, season 1 of this show and this show does not take place. This is before the birth of the 1999 whatever, the MCU universe. I feel like this whole TVA storyline, this whole whenever this takes place, I think it's before any of that existed. Like that's unless Loki just wakes up in just like another place in another TVA, and it's like, oh man, how did I get to this TVA now? Because we've already done that this season with him waking up in multiple TVAs in the past and present and stuff like that. But unless they do something as lazy as that, like I feel like the only other out is this just takes place before everything. Because it is a multiverse, so things can be ridiculously similar. They don't have to be like
and necessarily. Time works differently in the type TVA.
Yeah, and there was a report I saw today, actually, that one of the things that they were playing around with at the beginning of Loki Season 2 was having Victor Timely end up being a variant of Loki.
Yeah, and that's another unfortunate thing, is I think that this show might have been impacted by the Jonathan Majors drama, because it's now that we're into it, it's come out that his parts in this show have potentially been affected by the legal issues he's going through. which I think that is hence why Miss Minutes is our villain for the season.
Right.
And on top of that, just Friday, they canceled Jonathan Major's next movie to release on Disney Plus. It wasn't even MCU related. Already done, already finished. We're just waiting to release. They just erased it. They're like, it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. There's a big question mark over all of it. Your mom's a MacGuffin. Damn right. Damn right.
And who's to say that he might not even be in the rest of the season? So we only got 2 episodes left. So.
Yeah, and in terms of like Marvel's not that smart. They're not. Like, and that's not saying that we're smart or we're smarter than them. That's just saying they're just not that smart. They've proven that time and time again. I'm not saying that they're dumb. They just don't think like that. And it's the whole corporate model versus like a fan model. You know what I mean? Like, fans are always going to overthink and think deeper into stuff. Like corporate, and like, dude, it was like a decade ago. George Lucas was in an interview. He said, like, the problem with these things anymore is that corporations make your movies. It's nobody who loves the property or is passionate about the property, who understand the fandom. It's a corporation. It's a group of suits that don't know what they love about it. They don't even like it. So they send it out to test groups and test screenings and try to toy with it and tinker with it to create something they hope people will like. There's a difference between knowing what you're making and hoping we can appeal to enough people to turn a profit, you know, and that's why they're not that smart. They don't make movies in a sense to be smart anymore.
Also, it's wishful thinking, hoping that they did do that and be like, oh, this is a different universe and stuff. It is definitely wishful thinking because they've proven that directors and writers don't talk to each other about different projects, so it'd be kind of hard to like pull that off.
I think it'll be interesting. One of the things that I think Marvel did learn is we were talking about the Marvels movie. One of the things I don't think they have a very high anticipation of how it's going to go. I'm not really expecting a lot out of it. I do appreciate the fact that they're only going to make me sit there for an hour and 45 minutes as opposed to 2.5 hours, which is what they normally make people sit for a Marvel movie. But I'm interested.
I'm not going to sit through it at all.
I'm going to be interested to see what the after. I'm more interested in what they're going to do after the movie. What's going to be the after credit scene? Because they really have almost nowhere to go. Because nothing's been filmed. I don't. Echo was canceled, I believe, right?
Which one?
Echo? Was it canceled altogether?
No, Echo got pushed back again.
I thought it got canceled.
I don't think so. I thought just this last week it got delayed again. Agatha, I think, got renamed again. January 24, yeah, it got pushed back to 2024, but January.
Well, the only other thing that really the movie wise is Captain America. Most of that was filmed, wasn't it?
Captain America?
Yes, I believe they actually have moved Captain America up because it was completed, and they moved Deadpool back.
But that was one of their biggest missteps is when they wrapped up Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They should have hit the pedal to the metal getting Sam Wilson forefront, man. Like, he is absolutely awesome character. Like, he's great in the role, even like as Captain Falcon, super cool character. And you shelved him. You shelved Captain America. That doesn't make sense. Like, you actually have a legacy character here that it's like your leader at this point. Like, he's been there since early days, beloved character, and he's got the shield, like, and you shelve him. Made no sense.
Yeah. Yep.
DJ said it's not going to bleed into anything until Secret Wars, and that's like 5 years away or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For Loki, for this season to not bleed into anything until Secret Wars, I doubt that. I doubt that. I'm sure you'll have some kind of stinger that says go see the Marvels after this.
Also, I just thought about this. Like, this is happening in time with, because I know Feige said that the end of season 1 of Loki is what affects the multiverse and that why that stuff happened in Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and that's happening at the same time this show is happening in reality. If you think about it.
What do you mean? Because I was thinking about that too, like trying to find the ramifications of Loki episode 1, and the only thing that Loki or season 1, the only thing it affected was season 2. Because Spider-Man, what affected him in the multiverse is Doctor Strange's spell. What affected Doctor Strange?
But the spell couldn't have happened if He Who Remains was still around, keeping the timeline in flow. There was only one timeline at that time. Whenever Loki, whenever Sylvie killed him, the timelines broke off, and creating other timelines. And now,
maybe, I mean, the first mention of the multiverse that we get in the MCU movies was from Jake Gyllenhaal in Spider-Man 2,
which was a lie.
I was about to say, but that was a lie. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I think that we're thinking about it way more than they do. What is going on in Anaconda Comics?
I think they also announced that Scarlet Witch died in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, Feige confirmed that. I think a lot of this stuff that's coming out with all these confirmation on story threads and loose ends is from that new book that just released.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is also happening in 2012.
Super.
But I definitely
saw that.
I seen that. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I definitely how what's her name, Olsen, has been going off about how Marvel, she didn't like working or something about Marvel. She was bad mouthing them. So I guarantee you, yeah, she's dead.
Victor Timely dying opens the door for Kang to come through and crush the buildings. But Victor Timely, he didn't serve a function other than just that paradox of reading Ouroboros' book and Ouroboros writing the book that he read. You know what I mean? That was...
Yeah, and this was supposed to be He Who Remains' plan, bringing it back. I don't think he planned that he would... his younger self would die in that moment either.
I did see someone point out, this can explain how we have the cameos that we have in the Deadpool movie. But I mean, in my mind, none of it doesn't make sense to begin with because we've already established a multiverse. After watching that South Park, they'd be smart to kill the multiverse. They crapped on the multiverse stuff so bad in that South Park thing. It was funny. George Lucas is one to talk. He was a one-man corporation, and that's perfectly fine though. That's why it worked. Because that one man knew his property, loved his property, and appreciated his fans.
And it started with one of the first things he did was in Star Wars, the AMPTP, whatever they call it, had a problem with the fact that he moved from the logo of Star Wars right into that crawl, because according to the rules, you were supposed to have the director and the writer and all those credits first. And so he said, fine, then I'm going to just do it. I won't even submit it to you guys. It won't be one of your movies. We'll do whatever we want. He controlled that from the beginning, which is why he's a, multi-billionaire, but he controlled every single aspect of it. And, he rarely made a misstep except for that Christmas special. But other than that, he basically did everything the way he wanted. He was not beholden to anybody. If he could have distributed the movie, he would have too, but he didn't have the ability to distribute it, so he let 20th Century Fox do it, but he controlled everything else. Don't you agree, TM?
I'll be right back. You got this, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't watch the fourth episode. I got through the third episode today, and it wasn't great, so I didn't actually go on. It kind of soured me on watching the fourth episode.
See, some people are split on it, because I liked the episode 2 more than I liked episode 3. And I'm not really liking... I know it's his acting choice in this, and it's different, but I don't like this character he's playing. Of Victor Timely, Jonathan Majors is playing Victor Timely as this kind of he just has a very big stutter, and I don't know, I'm not liking this character in general.
Yeah, and having Rensselaer go back in time to give him the TVA handbook, so that he's able to do what it is that he does. It was kind of okay, what, they made him who he is, and so you really can't complain about the fact that he's there because you got, well, Rensselaer and Miss Minutes made him. But yeah, I think it's we have this HAL type device now in Miss Minutes, for lack of a better term. It's basically going to be the big bad.
Yeah, she was a psycho. And I noticed, because I'm a regular guest host on Guess That Key, and one of the fun gifts that he has is that Jurassic Park one going and they straight ripped that from Jurassic Park with Miss Minutes in that episode.
I love that. But I'm curious to see what happens next. I'm definitely invested in it. We can't wait until Thursday hits again, which seems weird saying Thursday because it's usually Wednesdays that these shows drop, but it's the first show to drop on Thursdays.
Yeah, that's a good thing with Cap, that they could do Bucky or Sam either way, and neither one of them were Cap for that long, but both of them have been Cap.
Yeah,
and Bucky's supposed to be part of Thunderbolts.
You're right, but he's not going to be in the new Captain America movie, though, right? I don't think.
I don't think so. No, it's going to have like a bunch of other cameos. Like
I'm gapping the actor's name who plays Sam Wilson with that. I love that guy. Like, me and Pops used to sit down back in the good old days before streaming services, and we would watch these movies when they'd come out. Like, we'd see them in theaters together. We'd watch all the special features, and all the special features on Winter Soldiers. We were just rolling, dying, laughing, because Anthony Mackie was in every time they'd yell cut, he would just yell cut the check. Like, he nailed it every time. He's just a fun actor. There's just some actors that are just enjoyable, and Anthony Mackie's one of them. Yeah, we always do. Britney Spears' new book confirmed this. Jesus. Bucky was Cap for like 2 or 3 issues. I think it was a little bit more than that. Alex Ross had a beautiful run of covers with him.
Yeah.
Olsen didn't have a problem when she was cashing those Disney checks. No, and that's the unfortunate thing, man. Like, some of these companies shift so fast on you that you can be cool with them one day and not cool with them the next day. Just look at what happened in like a handful of the people that have worked for him here in recent times.
Right.
But yeah, I can guarantee you Scarlett Johansson's not going to go back.
This is a good point. Name any actor that has worked for a Disney company and had a wonderful experience. I'll wait. That's a solid statement. I've never really thought about that, but
I can name one: Robert Downey Jr.
Kurt Russell. He was in like a million Disney movies in the 70s.
When he was a kid, yeah. This all reminds me of the stupid book I'm reading with this Hobbit. He just found a ring in this pointless side quest. Get to the real story. What is going on, Kenny B? South Park Speaks Truth. Dude, that South Park episode. Yeah, we can beat Loki till like a dead horse, but that's really all there was to it. A whole bunch of I don't knows. We can speculate till the cows come home, and I'm not invested. If I don't ever see the next episode, I wouldn't be upset, but I'm definitely curious. Definitely curious to see what.
There's only 2 episodes left, so that really is just like, yeah, I might as well finish them.
Yeah, I do like the OB character a lot. I think that Tom Hiddleston is another phenomenal actor. He just does great in everything. What was that like right after the first? God, it could have been after. It might have been after the first Avengers movie. He did this special limited series on A&E. I think it was called like The Manager or something. But it was fantastic. Yeah. Night Manager or something like that. If you haven't checked that out, it's definitely worth the watch. It's only like 4 episodes or something like that. It was really good. But South Park, one of those shows like The Simpsons, been running for decades at this point. I can remember it like starting when I was too young to be allowed to watch it by far. And they put out a special, like a mini movie. I think it was like 15 minutes long. It's called South Park Enters the Panderverse, Pander. And they go in on Disney. They go in on multiverses. and they also go in on adults being useless, and just the generation coming up being absolutely useless and incapable of anything but asking for help anymore. And
I like when
it was a
I
trip.
love when Stan was just like, "All right, come here, kids. I'm going to teach you how to fix things because the kids these days don't know anything. So you grab your phone and you click handyman. You call the
Yeah.
handyman and then you wait." It's like, okay.
Yeah, South Park replaced everyone. So basically, the story behind this one goes is like you find out at the end that Kathleen Kennedy was doing her thing at Disney, and one day Bob Iger showed her this room where they have this magic pander stone, and she decided to use it one day to fight against a couple of the online trolls that were trolling their stuff, because she has until modern times with Disney, before she activated the pander stone, she had a good record as an executive for studios. She's done some pretty successful stuff, and it was kind of looking at where things went wrong for her. And she activated that pander stone and did some pandering in a movie, and also just to fight back against those people online, those racists and the misogynists. And all it did was it created more of them. So she pandered more, and it created more. She pandered, and it opened a portal and sent her to the pander verse, and sent like the pander version here, which is like, looks like Cartman, and and her whole motto was, whenever they're making anything now, is put a chick in it and make her gay. Like, even when she's ordering food, like, I'll have a cheeseburger, put a chick in it and make it gay. And dude, it was absolutely hilarious. And then watching the adults try to figure out how to get a handyman. The handymen are like millionaires at this point, so you have the whole eat the rich thing going on from the working class against the handymans, and it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, instead of like the actual handyman, the people that are working on the like outside of Home Depot, it's the people that need the help. There's like, I will give you free geology training, and that if you fix my damn oven.
Yeah, if you fix my oven, I'll give you legal advice. You're outside of Home Depot, it's just a bunch of people with college degrees holding signs up because they're useless.
Yeah,
it was hilarious. I definitely suggest checking it out. It was really funny. Paramount Plus is like the gift that keeps on giving. There's just all kinds of stuff on there. Even my wife, she lives on that streaming service now. She's been watching this Navy SEAL show, and it's actually really good too. It's called Navy SEALs, I think. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah. It's funny because Paramount Plus, the only way that they can actually do South Park is to do these specials, because the actual episodes that are on Comedy Central end up on HBO Max because of the agreement that Warner Brothers is the people that actually distribute the South Park DVDs, so they end up with the rights to show the Comedy Central episodes. So they have to do these COVID specials and Pandaverse and movies. That's how they
streaming wars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's how they get South Park on Paramount Plus.
And the good news about the TV show being on HBO Max, I have that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Between the two of those, I'm set. So you guys should go all watch that Pandaverse, or Kathleen Kennedy will get it. She's gonna get it.
She's gonna get me. Yeah, it is South Park, so there's really not much to like do a synopsis on. It's just all just outrageous jokes the whole time. It was hilarious.
And make fun of the. Because of the style of the animation too, things are so topical. You can see something on like an episode like 2 weeks after it happens, basically.
Yeah, I think was it UTN that says that they do these things like days in advance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so before airing these episodes, to stay like very like in the know of what's happening in pop culture and stuff, and to be like on the nose with things, they do everything 6 days before airing. So like they do an episode 6 days prior to it airing. Like they come up with the idea, they do the animations, they do the voices, all in 6 days. And then like, so it's very fast paced. And yeah, so however many episodes they do per year, they do it in that amount of time. Mm-hmm. They did a whole special on it and showed us. They did a kind of documentary type style back in season 25. I want to say.
Speaking of streaming services, I'm going to be activating Apple TV for the first time coming up quick. We're about just over 2 weeks away from Monarch Legacy of Monsters kicking off on Apple TV. And no, they are not free with paid friendship, but with membership, you get a free welcome packet. So be sure to hit that join button today, Bubs. You got it.
It does have a Legion of Comics sticker, so if you have a T-shirt, you can
stick it on there. Monarch Legacy of Monsters is coming up on the 17th, I think. So I'll be firing up that Apple TV. I'm actually excited about that.
And then when does the Japanese Godzilla movie come out? That comes out soon, doesn't it?
November 1st, this coming Wednesday, Godzilla 2000 will be having a Fathom event special at select theaters. But then December 1st, -1, the Toho Godzilla will be releasing here in the States, which ridiculously excited about. Legacy of Monsters in between those two things will start on Apple TV, and then I think it's March. I think it's March. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's March that Godzilla X Kong New Empire releases in theaters, which they just had their first test screenings of. I don't know if any of y'all caught that, but they had their first test screenings for the new Godzilla X Kong film. They were overwhelmingly positive with one critique, and it wasn't even necessarily a negative critique. And for me, it's exactly what I wanted to hear. The only thing that some fans felt like, I'm not too excited about that is it's Kong heavy, which let's go. Exactly. Let's go to the Hollow Earth. Let's deal with some Kong. We've got Scar, the giant red orangutan ruling down there. We got a lot to do down there. Yes, -1. Some other people are following along.
And I know you and I talked about this week, and you actually shared it. But if you have not seen the Bjorn Barron's second printing cover for Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong, comes out December 12th. So make sure if you're looking for it, make sure you have your LCS order one for you. I'll bet you have it somewhere on your computer.
That one. Yeah, he crushed that cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he does like 3D modeling. Like it's literally this computer 3D modeling that he takes a screenshot of to make the covers with. And with something like Godzilla and Kong, that requires concept artists to begin with, that's just like a fantastic cover right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I know where you're going to put it too. See, Apple has all sorts of good stuff.
It does. You should definitely check out Silo, Shrink.
The Foundation.
I have not checked out the Foundation yet. I'm definitely going to check that out down the road.
Yeah, that's one that I'll be jumping on immediately. Was Isaac Asimov's Foundation. I remember that's been a while now. I remember when that was coming out, like it was getting announced. I was excited for it, and I was on here talking to Ryan on this show when he's like, "It looks like it's gonna be an Apple exclusive." I'm like, "No!" So I'll finally get to watch it, and I keep hearing good stuff about Silo. Austin LeMay, as soon as I mentioned Apple TV, he's like, "You need to watch Silo." I have no clue what it's about. December 3rd will be his birthday. I'll be 64 years old. Dude, awesome. Maybe December 3rd, November 3rd.
Maybe that's the reason again.
Yeah, I know. Go watch.
Put a chicken in America.
Let's make it lame.
God, man, that was so wild. It was something else. I'm still waiting on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning to drop on Paramount Plus. I can't wait to watch that again. Another thing, Infinite Crisis or Crisis on Infinite Earths, the animated feature, it got an official release date announced for part 1. If I'm not mistaken, it is a 2024 release date. I don't remember what it was, but that got dropped this week. And I think we got like the box art for it. There's some kind of digital image that's going around with all the news headlines on it or the stuff on it. Facts. But yeah, we'll see what's up with that. I'm excited for that one. James Gunn also like something that I thought was interesting that I kind of keep up with what he has saying because he's kind of in control of all the stuff that I'm looking forward to these days. And he did announce that with the DCU stuff, he is going to make sure that all the properties have their own tone and style to them, which, that's like early MCU type stuff when each movie was kind of its own individual genre. So that was promising to hear. James Wan made a statement saying that the limited amount of Amber Heard in Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom was not due to anything other than that was what the script called for. This isn't a romance movie with Aquaman and Mira. It's a buddy action flick with him and his brother. So a little damage there.
She wasn't even in the first one that much either.
Oh, she's in a lot. She goes and gets him. She takes him to Atlantis. They leave Atlantis together. They come back.
I know, but she's only in the first part. Yeah,
they fight.
She's lost.
You're thinking of Justice League, bro. She was in like all of the first movie. It was amazing. They were in Venice together, wherever they were, when she's like tearing up the wine shop and running on roofs, and they're in the desert, jumped out of a plane together.
I think I need to go rewatch Aquaman.
I was hoping for good news to come out of the SAG negotiations because
they were so close.
Bob Iger, they were all there again, and that's what it took to get the writers settled.
Yeah, they from what I understand, that they were right on the cusp of an agreement. The writers threw something in, or the actors threw something in, right at the last second, trying to sweeten the pot. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're hopefully they're trying to go for long term here, not something like they'll have to come back in like 3 years to up it. So they're going for long term here.
Yeah. That's one of those, the landscape has changed so much so fast kind of things too. There really is. I mean, I can't even imagine like how complex those negotiations have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I saw somebody do a little clip to your point, CJ. They're like, yo, these are very well off people. Why do they have unions? I thought unions for like working class people, but then I'm like, yeah, but the vast majority of people that are like in the Screen Actors Guild, like they work a 9 to 5 and just act on the side. You're just not even allowed to participate in anything pretty much without being in the Screen
So
Actors
they have to be a member of the union, right? And only I think it was like 14% actually make enough money per year to actually qualify for their health insurance. And the dollar amount that you have to make per year to qualify for their health insurance is like $23,000. So only 14% of the people actually make $23,000 or more that are actually in that union.
Mm-hmm. And I know there was a lot of people that part of SAG that were living in LA and had to leave. They had to leave LA and stuff and move to a different place because they couldn't afford living where they're at, because it's expensive to live in LA.
Dude, this has got to be the comment of the night, right? I'm on Amber's side. Who amongst us wouldn't wild out trying to keep up with doing cocaine with Johnny Depp? Glass houses, you guys.
And then speak on SAG's part too and stuff. It's like it would have to take a lot, because like I've stated before, actors haven't been on strike since the 80s. They've been pushed hard enough that they finally went on strike after all of these years. They're just trying to get what they want to get, like AI. They're worried about that. They're trying to get paid what they want, and so.
Yeah, well, I'm like, dude, I don't look at acting like that's not like it's not a typical career. Like he says, the majority of actors work paycheck to paycheck. Everyone thinks of Tom Cruise and George Clooney and big Hollywood stars, not everyday TV show actors. Well, and also I think everyday TV show actors aren't like we're living that paycheck to paycheck. I'm sure they're making well more than what like most of us here tonight are making. But the vast majority, like it's a form of art. If you want to be an actor, you don't just give up your life, quit your job, and just go be an actor. It's like if TM wanted to become an artist tomorrow, he couldn't like just drop what he's doing and just, I'm going to be an artist now. And I'm going to be sad when I'm not making enough money to do X, Y, or Z. That's not how it works. It's like you have to perform for the money. You have to win the audience. You have to make them like you. You have to bring something of value in that arena that generates money. You don't just get to be an actor so I get money. No, that's not how that works. That's not how it works to be a sports player, an artist, an actor. That's not how any of that works. So, yeah, you can keep your job and go dabble in acting all you want, carve your own path. But just because I'm an actor, I should get that. No, that's I run a kennel and groom dogs. I should be a millionaire because I think so. That's not how it works. It's not how it works.
And I know I can't think of his name right now. The guy that played Kingpin in the Daredevil series and stuff. He stated when he was working on Law and Order, like they didn't get paid very much. Like they got paid maybe like I forget what he said, but like it wasn't very much for the day. And that, so it was like for a day of work, they probably got like $75. So you get paid more of that doing an hourly job for 8 hours. They're there for like 14. So they're not making gazillions of dollars like some of the TV actors. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely happy that they're fighting back. Just again, I'm not even going to pretend to understand the complexities of these conversations, but just in how in terms of how cut and dry you see a lot of these conversations go on our end of things, like just from the peanut gallery, which we are like in comment sections and having these conversations. It seems like very black and white a lot of times, but it's not. Like,
and if it's that easy to do it, and you think that they're making gazillions, then anybody can go do it.
Yeah.
And like you guys could go do it if you want. Yeah. I forget what else I was gonna say, but it's just we don't know exactly what they're going through, but they did not have things set right. They didn't have it pre-structured at all. And they're kind of getting silly a little bit with some of the stuff. Like you can't go out as certain characters that were in movies if you're an actor, part of SAG and stuff, or you're a scat. And Ryan Reynolds even put out a thing stating that, because they didn't specify it, stating that he's like, oh, my little girl's going out as this. I can't wait to call her a scab.
They did a skit on that last night on Saturday Night Live about how Fran Drescher interrupts some Halloween trick-or-treaters. So
I hope it works out. I'm hoping it's one of those situations where they're asking for a lot. That way they can chip away at it and settle on something decent. To be honest with you, I was more concerned with the writers thing than I am with the actors thing, because I feel like writing is where we've been hurting the most with the quality of products that we've been getting. For whatever reason that is, whether it just be poor hiring on the company's part or lack of quality writers, like I need more money or I'm not doing it and they're not willing to pay him kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, they were getting like overworked. It even pushed the VFX artists to be like, you know what? And it's the companies that are really pushing them. Like, so Disney executives making a lot of money and then paying their workers that not what they should be, and overworking these writers, overworking the VFX artists. I can't speak on the actors because I haven't heard them overwork them, but so.
They did. They cut back, I think, on 3 writers in the writers' room for Superman and Lois this week.
That's not good. Why are you going to cut back on something that they're like one of the few things that's actually amazing? That show is so good. Hopefully they wrote a lot of stuff beforehand. Well, y'all want to shift into some comics? There were some good ones this week.
Sure.
Definitely worth mentioning. TM, you sent me a pretty massive reading list, my man.
Yeah, I haven't gotten through all of it yet, but I've gotten through quite a bit of it. Some of it wasn't even like this week, but I've gotten through quite a bit. I haven't read Action Comics.
I'm sorry, did you say Action Force?
Action Comics.
Oh, Action Comics. I got a decent stack. I'm going to throw you a curveball first. This is one I ended up going back to the shop and picking up because someone kept messaging me, asking me if I read it. And I said no. They kept telling me it was good and I needed to check it out. It's Tony S. Daniels' brand new book from Image Comics. Issue number 1 came out this week called Edenwood.
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually like really, really good. This was super solid. Can't really explain what's happening, because I don't understand, because it's pretty complex and they leave you like in the dark. But it seems like there's like a war waging between witches and demons, basically, that's bridged over into the real world. And over time, it's taking up more and more space, taking over the world. And these kids kind of get too close to the Eden with the event that's happening and stuff. And once you get inside of it, it's like a whole other world, you know, of demons and demon slayers and hordes of witches and stuff. And it's violent, it's wild, it's leaves a lot to look forward to. Like, left you hanging on a lot of different plot threads. I'm really, really, really excited to pick up issue 2 to try to get some clarity on what's happening. Some good action. The character designs in it were pretty wicked, but yeah, it was nuts. It was super nuts.
Definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I like Tony Daniel too. So, is he not doing? Are they still doing Noctera? Him and Scott Snyder?
I don't know. I think that's on hiatus right now.
Okay.
What was a hit from one of y'all?
You got to know what mine is.
Oh yeah, Alan Scott Green Lantern. That was my read of the week, probably. Did you read Alan Scott, TM?
I did not. I read the Jay Garrick Flash, but I did not read Alan Scott.
That was even, to be honest, even better. Yo, this one surprised me. I was super duper nervous about this. Tim Sheridan doesn't have like the best track record, and really, I mean, you could come up with different reasons why. It seems like editorial would probably be the biggest one. They were doing some pretty big things over in Teen Titans Academy that they were teasing from Future State that really never came anything out of it. So when I saw that they were doing these new Golden Age books, I was stoked. I'm a JSA stan. And when I saw that they were doing Alan Scott, I'm like, thank God we get an Alan Scott book. And then I saw it say Tim Sheridan. I'm like, oh no. It's like when I see Tim Seeley's name on something, I'm like, well, there goes my excitement. But dude, he absolutely blew me away with this. Tim Sheridan delivered in a massive way. He did this dual complex storytelling where we get a running narrative of modern day stuff and a flashback of a very specific time in Alan Scott's past, which was in the early 1940s when him and the military are trying to discover what's called the Crimson Flame. It was this thing that they were chasing down, this power that was under the water. So they were out on a Navy ship with a contraption to try to siphon some of the power. And really they awoke the power and it attacked them and everything. And flashing forward to modern times, it's looking like it has returned, and like a piece of his past have returned. And it was absolutely amazing. The pacing was great. The mystery was great. We know that this new Golden Age villain called the Red Lantern is coming in the series. So we know that it's attached to that. So you're kind of waiting to see, like, when's he going to reveal? And they teased him in this one. Like, they're making comments like, yeah, the Green Lantern was just here. Like, I just got here. So you're like, oh, it was the Red Lantern. It wasn't Alan. So there was all kinds of cool stuff in here. A lot that's got me excited for it. Yeah, this was dope.
Yeah, it was. The art was great too. To your point, I mean, it actually. We had that story a few months ago back in the DC Pride Through the Years that even though it was only like 4 or 5 pages or 6 pages, whatever, but it actually, that story actually did kind of lead into what we have in this particular issue. We had, I think it was in, I don't recall, but we had that Who's Who page of the Red Lantern. So, we know that he's coming, and I was expecting the final to flip to the last page and to have it be the Red Lantern, and instead we see, Alan Scott in Arkham Asylum, basically. So, a great start. I hope some of these, I doubt they will, but I really wish that some of these would go beyond a 6-issue thing.
Yeah, they will if they sell well, but I don't think that these will, even if they sell well, because they really have them mapped out as part of what's going on in the greater new Golden Age stuff. We have JSA running currently. We had the Stargirl 6. Now we have the 3 character 6. And I know that this is going to be leading into something bigger. But yeah, it was super solid. Definitely one of my top reads for this week. And one that kind of came up the ladder from the previous issue, but it's still like, it's hurting to read it. And that's Cy Sperrier's Flash #2. This was a lot better than issue 1 because it gives us a lot of information in this one. We know that the the Speed Force is messed up with Wally. We know that he's fighting Gorilla Grodd army people. He keeps seeing bystanders just slowly getting lifted into the air. But what this issue did that I was excited about was giving some explanation to that. We saw that creature pop up at the end of the last issue, and we see this group of people here pop up and explain the secret of the stillness. And he's tapping into an aspect of the Speed Force called the stillness, where it's literally pretty much like the whole Speed Force thing is like the hyper time where you can get in, you can manipulate time, you can move faster and this and that. The stillness is like the polar opposite, where you just detach and step out of everything. And he even did some cool little tricks with it, like he does when he's using the Speed Force. And he someone goes to reach for him, he steps out of time and space and lets the world move, and then he steps back in and he's at a different place on the world and stuff like that. I thought was really cool. When the alien presence came down and we're kind of witnessing what's going on and getting that rogue creature in check, I thought that was pretty cool. But it's still just this felt kind of how I think issue 1 should have felt. I think issue 1 left more of a bad taste in my mouth. It's still too wordy. It's still trying to do too much stuff. Mm-hmm. I think it worked a lot better when it was a lot more simpler with what Jeremy Adams was doing, because it felt like a flash book. It moved well. It hit emotional notes. This is just, it's hard to connect with any of the characters because there's so much happening.
Right.
There's so much.
And we ended the issue with Barry Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, like something is drawing to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, you shouldn't have to. You almost have to. You shouldn't have to plod through a flash book, and I felt like I had to plod through this.
Does the Alan Scott story take place in modern time or in older time? Both. Kind of. Yeah, both.
I think it takes place in the past, but when I said when we get to current day, I actually meant the current day for the timing in the story.
Yeah.
So it probably, because he would be like 102 or something, right? By then.
Well, I mean, he's in present day. Alan Scott and the JSA don't age like the rest of the rest.
Oh, that's
of
true.
people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I thought that little thing was I thought that was a little node to a present day. But this is taking place like back in like the early 40s and the 40s for the most part.
Right, and we even jump back to 1936 for a little bit too, because we see Alan and his boyfriend again
in the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah, big twist there is so I thought that they were going to pull like a really cool move and let his ex-boyfriend end up being the Red Lantern, being that he was on the ship, like one of the unaccounted for from the event of the Crimson Flame coming up. But they threw a massive twist in, because I was calling that ahead. I'm like, yo, if they don't make Red Lantern his ex-boyfriend, they've missed a mark with this. But what they did was when we get to like the whole like time era of the Red Lantern showing up, you think you're going to see him, but what you see is like the dead corpse of his boyfriend, the way he died, like back on that ship, laying on the rooftop of a building in the city with his arms burnt from where the red flame, for lack of better words, burned him and stuff. It was dope. It was dope. But yeah, that last page made me think that has something to do with present time, but it probably doesn't. Yeah, we'll see. It says next issue is going to be called Conversion. So no telling what's happening to him, knowing that they're kind of exploring the aspect of Alan Scott being a gay character from the Golden Age and how things in the 1930s were vastly different. I know a lot of people, this was a very strange week to be an Alan Scott fan. For me, it was fantastic. But for the hate monger channels out there, they were trying to eat it up and call this book a fail before it ever comes out. And that channel, Paul, the channel that shall not be named, that channel, someone messaged me or something and said, I heard this book is getting bad reviews. And this was on a Wednesday morning, they said it. Because I get them and read them by Tuesday, you know. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't get them till Wednesday to begin with. And I'm like, where did you hear it's doing terribly? Like, I haven't heard anything else about it at this point. And they said that channel. So I went and looked for that person's Alan Scott review, and he didn't have one up. He reviewed the solicitation from weeks ago. Reviewed the solicitation, and everything he said in his review was absolutely wrong once you get the book and read it. And it was then I thought, let me go actually look at reviews. So I started Googling and looking at reviews. The book absolutely crushed it. It's like getting 9s out of 10s out of actual review sites and all kinds of stuff. And it was a legitimate win. It was well done.
No,
Super
it
well
won't be a
done.
problem when they stop printing all these comic books. So
Well, I'll add it to my list. I'll add it to my list. It was going to be the only Golden Age book I didn't read. I'm reading the Wesley Dobbs. I'm reading Jay Garrick, so I might as well read this too.
Oh,
So I'm adding
yeah.
it to my list.
Out of the 3 of them, I think you should.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if it was up to me, out of the 3 of them, the pecking order would be Alan Scott, Jay Garrett, then Wesley Dodds. Boom, 3 months
Nice.
already. Well, 3 months in that tier. Or maybe it's been 3 months total. I don't know. But yeah, Alan Scott's one of those characters that, he's been around since like, what, 1940?
Yep.
Since 1940. And he's one of those ones that a lot of people are upset that he got, like, that they put a chick in it and turned it gay. Well, they did. And I think he's unique in a sense, though. Like, I'm not a fan of just grabbing an established character and turning them gay. I'm not a fan for grabbing an established character and changing their race or changing their gender. I'm not a fan of any of that when it's done poorly. Right. That's the only time, which, to be honest with you, most of the time it's done poorly. But quality is really all that matters. With Alan Scott, there's something really interesting about it. He's not an established character like Robin is. Like Tim Drake is established, but he's only been around since the 80s. Like, you could have made him gay when he came out. You didn't have to do it now. Why are you doing it now? Oh, because there's so many Robins, you don't know what else to do with him, make him gay. Well, he has fans out there that connected to him, and you kind of crapped on him. Well, with Alan Scott, what's unique is he actually existed in a time where you couldn't make him gay. Right. Even the character in the books couldn't be out. He living that life of trying to put on a front, like, yes, I love this woman. It's not the same kind of love that a heterosexual person would have, and this and that. And even his son Obsidian has been gay for decades, So it's like, yo, if you're going to do it, this is how you do it. And the fact it's been handled with such grace, and it was kind of organic because they did it first really with the New 52 when they relaunched that. He was gay in that, which still that Earth 2 run is one of the greatest comic runs in history, if you ask me. So when we bring the JSA back after the Earth 2 stuff, it's kind of like, yo, we're all used to Alan Scott being an established gay character for like years now. So it seemed like it definitely works. Yeah, like Connor said, maybe he feels gay. He very well could. But yeah, I think they handle Alan Scott with grace. John Kent, another one they handled with grace because they didn't make the book about him being gay. Just like Superman's books aren't about him being heterosexual. Again,
the character that they didn't do well making gay was Bobby Iceman. He changed his whole personality.
Yeah, all he talks about is how he's gay. Tim Drake Robin, you get his book, all he talks about is the fact that
and plus, like I'm a Tim Drake fan and stuff, and like a lot of like people were shipping him and other characters and stuff, and like his whole persona was like the relationship with a certain character in that, and they kind of threw that out the door when they were like, yeah, we'll just make him gay. They haven't really touched on it since, so
it's weird. Rainbow Kryptonite turned John Kent gay, didn't? Could have been. Yeah, but I think the John Kent thing was handled well. But that's the difference. Tom Taylor's a fantastic writer. Tim Sheridan, the groundwork was laid for him by great writers like Tom Taylor, who worked on that run for a large piece of it. But just handle these characters with some respect, like they have some fans out there, and just John Kent is an alien. He should be into all genders and species. He's half alien, and he's an Earthling. If you're being honest, he's not an alien. He was born here, Comic Journey, born in Metropolis. Well, no, he was born in the Fortress of Solitude, but he was here. He was born here. I'm just saying, who amongst us wouldn't be a little gay at Justice League meeting? These people stay fit and let it hang out. Glass House guys.
Well, I can't speak on that. Like Tim Drake is around Nightwing all the time. Like,
all the time.
It's bound to happen.
What is going on? Hope you're doing good, Comics Addicts. They really messed up with Tim Drake and Iceman. Yeah. He's a freaking alien. Now we know how CJ really feels on the inside. Speaking of aliens, Action Comics issue number 1058 dropped this weekend. Holy potatoes, it continues to be fantastic. The Blue Earth organization makes her first play against the Super Family by sending a Superman to attack Clark Kent. They have their very own abilities to siphon Kryptonian power and put it into the users of these bands, and he rocks the socks off of Superman for a while before Superman uses his intellect and nothing else to shut this sucker down. It was badass.
Yes, it was really good. I almost feel like though it's. I mean, I know that Philip Kennedy Johnson has indicated that he's, there's going to be more. He'll be writing Superman somewhere somehow later on, but I almost am a little bit worried about the next couple issues because I'm feeling as though he's going to have to try to wrap up his story in 2 issues before they get to the.
We start the next initiative.
It's January, so we basically have the November, December issues. That he's got to wrap up his stories.
I hope they force out another annual somehow or a special. We had the Doomsday special already. Is there a Brainiac special coming or anything? Because that stuff's coming fast.
The Brainiac's going to be part of the. It's going to be an arc within the Action Comics, the Superman Superstars arcs.
TM, do you read Action Comics? Did you say you still have to read that?
No, yeah, it's on the list. I'm a couple of issues behind too, so I need to catch it.
So this is what we're going to do. TM, give me a book.
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow it is.
Loved it.
Fire.
Yeah, I did. I love this too, and then it takes place like right after the last issue. We get the old Oliver Queen talking to the younger one, the one that gave him the warning to like abandon your family and stay away from them, be alone the rest of your life. At that same time, we have Connor Hawke and Red Arrow's child. I can't think of her name. With Brainiac 5, trying to go back to the future in that, and Brainiac 5 is like, no, it's illegal to go time traveling and that. And then we do find out that after enough time with this older Oliver Queen, we find out that it's not Oliver Queen at all. He found out that it's just a robot trying to ruin his
wasn't that a scene though?
Yeah.
I was shocked. Like, what?
Yeah. And one of the things that I really loved about this whole issue was when they go back to the Oliver Queen from Kevin Smith's Quiver, the old Green Arrow series. They use not only the artist who did that, Phil Hester, but if you notice, also the font in the word balloons is the same font that they used in those old issues as well, and it's different than the font in the newer one. So the little things that are attention to detail to me really kind of I really enjoy.
I like the little mentions that they were talking about with something bigger happening. The old Oliver Queen being an android. I want to know who's pulling the strings and why, knowing that this is Joshua Williamson writing this and knowing that he's architecting so much at DC. I know it's going to actually go to something bigger and badder. But yeah, this was a dope issue.
Excited to see what happens next. I really wish they would have saved this cover that they used for the next issue, because we kind of like assumed that these characters were going to show up eventually at one point. Like something was going to happen and we were going to see all of these other Oliver Queens.
Mm-hmm.
But that reveal at the end is pretty cool. I'm interested to see, because he thinks he's gone back in the past, but he probably did. And all of these characters came at the same time. So,
You think these are all real Green Arrows, or do you think these are all androids as well, like the old Oliver was?
it's hard to tell, because one of them is real. So it has to. So to say that the rest are not, or are, but I'm not sure if any. Did any? I'll have to go back and see. But did anybody get hit? Any of the?
Our Oliver did.
Yeah, exactly. They were in the heart in the final panel.
Yeah, but we know he's fine because he shows up in Birds of Prey.
That's right. And he said, and I think it said this takes place after Green Arrow #6. I think it said something like that. It was a little editorial note. So
For Birds of Prey.
How about that?
What's happening in Birds of Prey, real quick? Because I'm not reading Birds of Prey. Did that come out this week?
No, that came out last week or the week before.
How many issues is it up to now?
Just 2.
I'm not going to read it. I don't want to lie to you.
It's interesting to say the least. Like it does. It kind of. It's gonna have Themyscira in it at some point. And it's cool seeing Big Barda part of the team. So.
I like Big Barda. Where she is scot-free isn't far behind. But speaking of Themyscira, now this was my read of the week. Alan Scott was up there, but this was crafted, delivered in such an expert way. Like this, when you hear people say master class in writing, that's exactly what this is. I don't see stories line up this flawlessly ever unless the writer and the artist is the same person on the book. And this was just gorgeous from start to finish. The fact that it builds such a tone, such a scene, such an environment. It takes place in one single place. It's one single moment, which is the response to in issue 1 when Commander Steele came for Diana and she said, "No, I'm not leaving." This is the response to her saying no. And as you can see from the cover, it's the entire army being led by Commander Steele coming to confront Wonder Woman out in the open. And before they attack, Commander Steele is a dick, man. He brought Steve Trevor with him and sent Steve to go bring her in. And Steve's like, I gotta try. Like, I mean, they're gonna attack you and people are gonna get hurt, and we don't know what's going on. She's like, I'm not listening to these psychos. Like, let them come. But the whole time this is happening, we're getting, just like in Alan Scott, this beautiful dual storytelling of the exact same moment happening back on Themyscira with a young Diana facing an opposing warrior. Both of them armored up, helmets on. You can't see who they are. We know who Diana is. We're meant to know. We don't know who this other warrior is in their Coliseum. They're battling for honor. It isn't like an anger match or anything. And it's this fantastic dialogue about giving up. This bigger warrior, this more battle-seasoned warrior, clearly Diana's elder, is trying to tell her just submit. It won't be disgraceful. You're young, you have a long way to go, and she refuses to submit. And the whole time you're getting pieces of that story and piece of the story with her and Trevor talking where she's not going to submit to this army. And then the fight takes off in both eras. And it is just phenomenal. Like, it's a ballet of dialogue with art. Like, and I was so locked in that I was like, I never looked ahead at the panels. Even when we had that 2-page splash that was split down the middle, I'm looking at the top panel and then I look down. I'm just like, oh my God. And you see Diana facing the army coming, like, dude, this is nuts. But it was really cool because by the end of it, in a flashback, you have this woman. She ends up like besting Diana, stabbing her through the stomach. And she's like, do you submit now? And Diana's trying to get the words out. And she's like, no. And all you've done, and she pulls the blade out of her stomach, is give me 2 swords and leave yourself with none. And with a hole in her gut, takes the woman out, gets her to submit. All while this is happening, we're seeing what's happening in present day. She's just thrashing an army, thrashing it. And the way that they portray it, the way she's effortlessly kicking tanks and moving them, it's reminiscent of like the old school image of like her holding a tank up that they even recreated in the first movie. But it was very telling because when the helmet came off of the combatant in the past, it looks mighty like the woman that started this whole thing in the bar. Amelia was her name. So we got a name. It was just, I can't give this book high enough praises. Like this, amazing.
Yeah, and one other thing that I think is important too is in the dialogue that Tom, the narration that Tom had. Just didn't leave a voice message about how humble I am. Yeah. And then the narration that Tom King provides too, he seems to indicate that they're going back to her original origin of the clay, formed from clay, and not the Brian Azzarello one of Zeus and whoever had made Whoopi and formed her as a demigod.
Yeah, they definitely confirmed that she comes from clay,
Mhm.
brought to life in this issue. TM, did you read this issue?
I did, and then I read the Amazon's Attack, which takes place right after this. Yeah, this was really good, and like you said, like how it cut between both times, they did it so freaking well.
It just clicked. That's what I was reading. Like when you showed me that, I'm like, yo, that trade dress looks familiar. I wasn't familiar with an Amazon Attacks book, but I did that. There is a backup story in this.
Yeah, that's the prologue to this.
Yeah, the backup story tells us a story of Yara Flor and how she comes into Amazon's Attack.
And also Nubia, like the backup story.
Nubia as well.
Nubia getting possessed at a gas station or something and just blowing it up.
No, I think that was a different girl, wasn't it?
Okay, got you.
That was a different girl calling out Nubia's name.
Look, my guy, if we're going to be completely honest with each other, I didn't read the backup story. I just flipped through the pictures.
Okay. I read the backup story and then went into Amazon's Attack, which was another fantastic issue, and that's kind of taking place at the same kind of time. In that you get Nubia going into the real world I think she's trying to figure out this bombing and figure out this woman that's been calling out her name. And so there's something going on with that. And then for some odd reason, won't give it away too much because I really want you to read it. Yara Flor shows up, and then Mary Marvel shows up, and now Mary Marvel is part of the Amazon war, and the government's after all of them. So they're on U.S. government soil. They're told to get off. They didn't, and now Mary Marvel is now coercing with the Amazons.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, because as part of Lazarus' planet, she ended up. She has Amazon gods now, are basically her Shazam.
Yeah, she doesn't have the Greek gods empowering her. It's all the goddesses of the Amazonians because she don't need no man, the way that terrible writer put it back in that issue so many months ago. It was so bad. Great concept. It works really well.
And just add a chick and make her gay.
Yeah, add a chick and make her gay. It was so bad when it was just, how did we get to this final issue like this? Like, where was that the same person that did Young Justice also, Paul?
I think it might have been. No, it was. I don't think it was.
One had somebody Fitzmartin, I think.
That's the Young Justice one.
And who did the Wonder Woman World Without a Justice League?
I don't recall.
God, that was terrible. Was that Teenie Howard? Is that right?
It might have been. Yeah, that was the whole. She's a peace lover because she something about war, like yeah, exactly.
What's happening here? Sometimes people
basically she just loves to make war. It's like, no, that's not what Wonder Woman was at all.
No. Yeah, some of these things are they just miss the mark, and when they do, it bums me out. Especially when it's like these collaborative projects like Lazarus and stuff. When you're counting on, like Tim said, like about the showrunners for the MCU, like they're not communicating well enough. That's what it felt like was happening with some of these events. And it was not like in the whole event; it would just be an outlier. Like, yo, why didn't anyone invite her to the meeting y'all had about this event? Why didn't you tell him that one bad day meant one bad day? Like it's just
right.
These outliers. They stand out. Did she find out who's calling out to her, TM?
No. Not in this issue.
She ends up, Nubia is supposedly invited to talk to the President of the United States. And so she's hoping to, between the two of them, to kind of quell what's going on in the world with everything. But it appears as though it's kind of been a setup for her because when they get to where supposedly she's supposed to go, suddenly they're all attacked and everything, and there's this big, kerfuffle that goes on, and it's like that's when Mary Marvel comes in and all these other people. So,
and that's when Yara Flor punches the president.
Right.
And unfortunately, all these people that have been tasked with taking out these Amazons have weapons that are capable of doing it too, which we saw in issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another one that I thought was a massive banger this week was Penguin issue number 3. I don't know if y'all are
I gotta
picking
add
up.
that to my list.
Yo, this is fantastic. We have Oswald Cobblepot has been forced by the government to go back to Gotham and take back over his crime empire because Gotham's too volatile without him in there. And this again is just another installment in this series. It just shows you really how dangerous and capable and psycho this little guy is. And he's going to go amass his gang to go take back over his empire. And he's got the help now. He got him in issue 2. Now he needs some muscle. He needs some goons because of all the goons being preoccupied with the Gotham War being fantastic cat burglars now. It's slim picking. So he goes to this old defunct team called the the Force of July, and he individually psychologically destroys each of them in a massive way. And what's so interesting about this book and what Tom King's doing unique to this title is he's telling the narration through whoever Penguin's talking to. So because this is a team of 5 individual folks, when Penguin goes to all of them individually, we're getting their point of view on what's happening around them, and it takes it in a very dark place for some of these encounters that they have. And by the end of it, he has all of these would-be heroes that their powers were taken away by the government that gave it to them, sitting in a room with nowhere to go, nothing to do but to serve the Penguin. And he gives them all a gun, and he says, just to make sure y'all are really on board, kill whatever comes through that door. And the door opens, and you see them like remorsefully screaming, putting guns out, like getting ready to fire. It's like it's psychological torture to the max. But he breaks them till like they're puppets, man. It's crazy. Crazy. It is.
I didn't read Penguin. That I just added it to my list because I did get issue 1, so I need to read it. But I did read the final issue of the Unstoppable Doom Patrol, which was a great issue. And so you got the final issue with Immortus trying to get the power, and we find out that the power that he's after is the Candlemaker's power. So not only does he become a better version of Immortus, but he also becomes a version of Immortus and the Candlemaker together. And they're trying to take over. It's a pretty good issue, pretty good end. Even though it's not ending, I think they're definitely going to continue with it after what we got. And the final spread, the final big reveal at the end was Batwoman Who Laughs is coming.
So now that we have a Batman who laughs, we have to have a Batwoman who laughs. And then we'll have a Batmite who laughs, and we'll have...
Didn't we see her in the 1 Minute War?
I'm not sure where she showed up, but I know she showed up at one point down early on.
Yeah, I remember, golly, it's got to be within the past year. Now I'm curious.
But I like how this issue is going on with what they're dealing with Immortus in Doom Patrol right now, the TV show. So I like how they're it's both the same type of villain. But then we do get some more Peacemaker showing up as well.
It was Justice League Incarnate. It was Justice League Incarnate that Joshua Williamson did before we got into Dark Crisis. That's where she popped up.
That seems so long ago now.
Dude, that was such a good series. I love that team, man. I'm ready for Dr. Multiverse to come back.
So I'm not sure when Doom Patrol will come back or if it will be called Unstoppable Doom Patrol, but I liked it. There was I think it was issue 4 that is the only issue I really didn't like out of this. And I was behind on Doom Patrol and I read 3 issues back to back. Trying to not remember exactly what happened in this issue because it's kind of all flowing with me right now. What happened in the last 3 issues. But we do get Peacemaker showing up in that and to talk some more about Waller and stuff like that. Peacemaker trying to take over Doom Patrol again.
Well, I got a couple more we can hit on. Y'all reading Detective Comics? This really hit the fan. Batman's been infected with the Asmir serum that the Orgums brought with him, and using this mystical ability to kind of pretty much put a demon in these people that could help them control them. And they pretty much he's been battling it the past couple of issues, and they kind of just follow him to the foot of his parents' grave, where he's just sitting there broken, cowering, and they just get him and get ready to string him up and hang him. They're getting ready to kill Batman, and then Arzen realizes it's Bruce Wayne, and he's having thoughts on how he should proceed with this because he wants to publicly kill Batman, but he needs Bruce Wayne, it seems like. So I think we have one more issue of this. No, the next issue of this is where it kicks off. The next issue of Detective Comics is kicking off. It's going to switch to bi-weekly or bi-monthly. It'll come out twice a month, and they're switching into the next story arc of this. Like, it's continuing.
Batman Outlaw.
Batman Outlaw, yeah. It's about to get nuts. I'm all in for getting Detective Comics twice a month because it's such a complex story. And it's another one of those like meaty reads that I think it serves better if you can get it faster,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it is saying here that 1076 comes out next week.
Yeah, it comes out fast, real fast.
It's funny because there is no other in both the main issue, but also in the backstory as well. I don't think there is any other hero whose stories so often go back to their origin as part of their ongoing stories. We don't constantly see, Spider-Man going back to Uncle Ben's death. We don't constantly, but we are constantly seeing Batman and going back to, Crime Alley.
Yeah.
And I just think, it's a testament, I think, to how strong his origin is.
Those damn pearls.
They're meaningful. They're very meaningful. I don't remember. I think this one came out. I think Ghost Rider was last week, but I read that one this week. Super dope. We're diving into Talia War Road stuff. Mephisto's getting involved. I'm not going to bore you guys, but Power Rangers is the best it's been since it started. This Darkest Hour stuff is freaking tastic. There's actual stakes. We're getting into other Rangers. We're going multiversal with this, which it's more multi-dimensional. Everyone knows there's countless Ranger teams over the years, and they bleed them all into the Shattered Grid storyline years ago, and we're getting an opportunity to do stuff like that again. It's just absolutely fun. And the last one I have on my list is Void Rivals. Continuously awesome, super fun sci-fi story. We get a little look at the Quintessent, so some Transformer lore in there. But it looks like we have a rebellion gang that is kind of in the know about what these two warring civilizations are really up to, working together. The people in charge to keep their people subjugated and at war at all times. So who knows where that's going to go? I don't know how long it's supposed to run. If it's going to continue to run, and it's going to continue to be like the binding for the whole Energon universe stuff. But yeah, it had an awesome backup in it for the Duke #1 that's coming out, which I like the tone and the style that we were given in that. They only gave us like 4 or 5 pages, but I'm excited to check that out as well.
Neither. I don't think I've read anything else that came out this week. Looking now. Yeah, I don't. Oh, Steelworks #5. I read that this week.
I dropped Steelworks.
I'm losing interest. Yeah, I'm losing interest in it, to be honest with you. Steelworks #5.
Oh, I dropped that after 2.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I thought you guys were still on it. I was like, why am I still reading this? But I just continued reading it, and I think, I'm going to drop it. Not that interested in what's going on, to be honest with you.
Normally, it was something that I knew was only 6 issues. I would stick with it, but I'm trying to be more discerning nowadays and say, if it really doesn't get me after a couple issues, I'm dropping it anyway. So,
is it only 6 issues?
Yeah.
I might as well read 6. I'm almost there. I just got one more issue left.
Well, that's pretty much all I got for tonight. Got anything else you want to hit on?
Nope. Gotham War Red Hood 2 came out.
Oh, yeah. The DC Deep Dive, more specifically on the CBC Award nominated channel. You know, that Sector 2815, he nominated for a CBC Award for Guess That Key. Team, do you know that?
I did not know that. Congratulations, Paul.
You're lying.
Oh, did you know that TM Nerdy was nominated for one of these CBC Awards as well for his show Between the Lines?
Of course, I tell everybody that we were both nominated, and then I tell them to vote for me.
Yeah, y'all definitely go check out the CBC Awards and give these guys some support over there. I promise you, I don't promise you this, but I don't assume that either one of them really care who you vote for, as long as you have fun voting and playing along with them, because that's really the whole point of them. In my opinion, like, if you know somebody really cares about them, vote for them. Vote for whoever you think cares the most. Mm-hmm. Unless you care the most, then vote for who you care for the most. But if you don't care, just go cast your vote, show some support for Brian. It clocks how many people vote, so we can gauge how many people are participating, enjoying it, and if it's growing and reaching more people and all that good stuff. But yeah, tomorrow at 10 a.m., the DC Deep Dive will post on Paul's channel, as it does every Monday. The book in question for tomorrow is Batman, Catwoman, The Gotham War, Red Hood, Issue 2.
Correct.
When you have to say that many words to explain a book, you're doing too much.
Right.
You got an episode of Between the Lines tomorrow, team?
We do, and it's Bleecker Street Comics. It'll be over on my channel, and the theme is horror icons, and that's fitting since tomorrow is the 30th, the day before Halloween.
Like Julia Roberts?
All Hallows Eve.
Did you say horror icons?
Yeah, horror.
Like everyone's just drawing Julia Roberts.
Exactly.
Horror.
Oh, I misheard you. Tomorrow I'll be talking a video. It's available now for channel members. Me and Pops went to Chris's Vault Show. It's a small comic show, semi-small. It's not really that small. It's not a big convention, but it's a small comic show that's held in South Carolina. I think like the Lexington area a couple of times a year. It was absolutely fantastic. It was my first time going. We went a few weeks back, and we had a blast. Picked up some really good stuff. Grabbed some stuff to go in the Legion loot. Again, that's for the channel member prize pack that we'll draw for the winner for that next week. So be sure to hit that channel membership button if you haven't already and check that out. See if it's something for you. And then Wednesday, we'll have the Big Time Collectibles monthly gold member box that came in. Already opened that and unboxed it. So if you're a channel member, I'll get that up to all y'all tomorrow, and then I'll post everyone else on Wednesday. So be on the lookout. Next Vault Show is in early January. Yo, Jeff, are you going to the Lexington Barnyard comic show this Saturday? November 5th. They have this Lexington Barnyard flea market comic thing happening, which it's obviously right there, an hour up the road from us. I'm definitely wanting to think about going to that. It's been fun actually hitting all these little comic things that have been popping up. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. I appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, as always, we are Legion.